So we had a web server in Rust. That web server might require a particular environment. Docker can make that environment itself deployable. In a way, yes, definitely. There are always some caveats to like how easy it is to do that, but it's easier in Docker to make it consistent between developers and production and local, which is really nice. All right, advertisements are starting in 5 seconds, so I am going to go ahead and take a quick break to go grab some food, and I will be back. In a few minutes. So those should be starting on Twitch any second now. I'll be right back. All right, let's continue. So I think this will work. LS will show us the command for this. Okay, so that's run. What else do we want to throw in here? Oh, right. Add and copy. Run. Okay, so the different run things. Run. Oh, command. Right, so we have two different types of commands. We have the command, the executable type, which I think is a little bit safer and a little bit less weirdness for people to run. And at one point in time, I remembered what the difference was, like, very clearly, but I don't remember quite off the top of my head anymore. There's something about a context or something like that. And I don't remember off the top of my head, but basically we have the exec form and then the shell form, and so we have the executable of what we want to run with the parameters to it. Oh yeah, if we want to run like entry point, then the command becomes the parameters to the entry point, which we're not going to do entry point for this. We're just going to do command. You need to provide full path to the executable file. Yeah, so I think of this. Wait, I don't know if I need to. Let's find out. So I want to run. So when we run this, we're running npm. No, we're npm run dev, essentially, for development. Okay, so the command. Okay, so the command that we want to run when by default. Hero Dev, welcome. Thank you for the raid. How's your stream today? And how are you all doing? Maybe relative just looks where it expects and absolutely is only when needed. Well, let's find out, because I vaguely remember using npm like that, like basically like this before, but I could be wrong, and that also could be the shell form, and I don't remember off the top of my head. Okay, so the command that we want to run by default. Okay, so basically, everybody welcome. We are, I am creating a course for Docker for web developers, and we're currently in the developing with Docker, like, you know, in using Docker section. And so we created a very basic Express CRUD application. We've done a bunch of stuff just running Docker from the command line, and now we're working a little bit on automating, making things a little bit nicer for us, and that's using a Docker file to create the image for us that we create containers from. Okay, so basically what we're going to do here is we're going to say, okay, the command that we want to run by default when we start the when we create a container. So npm run dev. Okay, so we have that. So we'll find out if that's correct or not shortly after that. Okay, so what's next? I don't use label. I've never really understood what labels I want to use for local dev type stuff, except maybe like using versions and something like that. I usually end up just doing just ignoring labels inside of the container, and then at build time we just do labels of like version 1 or version 2 or whatever, but then it's almost always latest for me. Maintainers deprecated. Okay, expose. So this is going to be the ports that are exposed to the host, or at least what's available to be exposed. Oh, just add some information useful in CI/CD debugging. Okay, so I don't think it's necessary for this course. Okay, expose definitely is very important. So I specifically want to just expose the port. I don't need to expose the protocol. We know what it is. So expose. On the port, in this case, we're going to expose 3000 inside. Okay. Environment variables. So this is where it gets interesting, because we can also choose to have an environment file, which isn't there an env file in here somewhere? Or not. For some reason I thought it was. I guess not. Oh, Docker Compose. Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. Docker Compose. Okay, yeah. So we can set the environment variables here. So env and our key and value. So we have two environment variables for this one that we want ourselves. The key for the first one is going to be port. And that's good. Port. I want that to be 3000. And then we also have another environment variable, which is the DB URI. And that value is going to be Postgres. Postgres : keyboard cat at what did we call this? It was so really I just want this. It's some kind of area of your work. This is why you're spamming. Oh, don't worry about that. And I don't think you're spamming. This doesn't feel like spamming. It feels like helping. So I'll appreciate it. All right, so environment variables, we want to have set in the image, or set in the containers. Since these are hard-coded into the image, and we are pushing these to GitHub, make sure we aren't exposing real secrets here by accident. We can still add new environment variables with the -e option when creating a container. Okay, have that. Add. All right. I keep on remembering that add and copy are like problematic, and I can never. It's been like, I remember looking it up and reading it, and then I never remember because I just don't use them. What is it? It's like, we're not going to use it here either. And I don't know if there's even a reason for me to teach that this exists. Yeah, I tried a few times to figure out which one is better. Just use add. Does it say, so in copy, it would be really nice if like in here it were to say, hey, by the way, just use add. But like it doesn't. And like add even has the -- link. It's like, okay, whatever. Okay, so we're just gonna not use add. Oh, you know what? And I tried to use this one, actually felt really cool. Like add from a Git repo. I tried to get this working and I couldn't get it working because that would have solved some interesting problems that I had at my day job a while back. Oh, it was a private Git repo, and I kept on running into issues with trying to share the secret keys, and I just, in the time frame that I had allocated for myself, I couldn't get it working. Maybe I'll come back to this later, but add from a repo seems to be like, that would be one of the coolest part of it. First, the add directive can accept a remote URL for its source argument. The copy directive on the hand can only accept local files. Note that using add to fetch remote files and copying is not typically ideal. This is because the file will increase the overall Docker image size. Yeah, no, I totally get that. What I wanted to do for it was, the reason why I wanted to set this up with that way is I wanted to create a image that had our source code inside of it, and then deploy that to a secure location that didn't have internet access. That was basically just like its own thing, and didn't have to, like, basically I could just say, okay, you get, like, you do the one time you connect to the internet, you get all the stuff, and then you're done. You don't have to go back out there anymore. You don't have to share with like the local system. And then what I could do is I could have our clients grab that and just like, okay, just run it. Here's one command. It's super simple. It's super easy. You don't have to deal with this anymore. it didn't pan out. The clients that would have needed that did not sign up with us, so I didn't have to actually get that running. But it would have been really cool to set up. Basically, it would have been an easy way for us to enforce like certain versions of code. Okay, so entry point is okay. So if we want to run this as an executable, which the last time I did this, yeah, add can copy from remote URLs. Yeah, that seems to be like the biggest difference between them, is add can copy from the remote URLs. I think that's what Hugh told us and said. Also, DS Ross, hello, how are you doing today? Entry point, probably not useful in this course because you don't really need this for like web development type stuff in here, but I did with Docker taking up like more resources, being and slightly slower, being the only real negative to doing this on, every once in a while I keep on thinking that I might want to set up like Helix or Vim or NeoVim inside of a Docker image, create like a Docker file for that, put that up there, and then the entry point would be like NeoVim or Vim or Helix or whatever on a specific thing. And then it's like, hey, you want to play around with or like try this. It doesn't matter what system you have. It doesn't matter what environment you're on. You're going to get the Vim type and editing environment that you think that you have. And then you can just run that on the directory and then just start editing. And that feels pretty cool. I like that idea a lot. I did it once a long time ago. And then I never kept it up to date. So it went quickly out of date. That's the only negative, is I have to keep that thing up to date, but heck, maybe a project for another time. Volume. Okay, so we want a volume. And that's going to be, now what's interesting is that this takes in an array. What I've always hated about Docker file is that they allow you to do so many different ways, and they don't really tell you which one is the best way as far as they're concerned, and which ones like are like not ideal. So I actually usually prefer just to use the good old volume. I guess we'll just do like that code. That'll be fine if that's what's coming out by default. All right, so create a directory that is meant to be a mount point for a volume. Volume. Okay. Maybe you can have a script in there that could copy the user's Vim config from their system if it exists. Sounds like a nice idea, though. That's also something that could happen. You could do add or copy for the local Vim config. Like that could actually happen. Yeah. Why you need a volume if you could just add the whole project in Docker? Well, from like, oh, you mean like add? I like to have a volume when you're gonna, especially in development, so that way I could just update the code on my own editor out here, and not have to like SSH or connect into the volume and then run my editor inside the container. What's the difference between volume / code and just doing run it? If I remember correctly, it's it just marks as holding externally mounted volumes from native hosts. So I don't. It's gonna just create a mount point for it, but I don't think it really cares that much. But yeah, like I don't think there's that big of a deal. Like I think you can just do make dir with that too. You can just do docker run. Yes, IT, RM, volume, current word directory to current worker. Well, that would be. Oh yeah, to wherever you are in there, and container spin up. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it would absolutely. Like you can still overwrite this. To me, it feels more like it's. Well, no, if you don't do the port, so it's less like port, because with port, if I forget to do the port in here, it doesn't matter if I attempt to expose it or not from the other side. I don't think it will work, right? At all. But with this, wait, is that correct? Or am I just insane? I might be very forgetful. I don't remember anymore. But you were right where this is you can almost think about this as like documentation, where it's telling any developers who look through the Docker file, hey, this is what's happening. This is what's expected of it. I want you to put the stuff into /code. User, we're gonna put we're gonna have user stuff. Where do I want to put user stuff? Maybe in security concerns. Let's running not using root as the user in a Docker image. It works. Okay, so it works even. Okay, then it is just communication. So it's just a way for somebody to see this is what's expected of you. Workdir. Okay, so path to the working directory. So in that case, we're going to go to code. Okay, so everything after this line will now be executed from the given directory. Includes commands when creating the Docker container. Which is why let's run this just to be more like easy to sort of see. We're gonna do this. I like to have the command at the end. We don't have any arguments. We don't have any special stuff for on build. I've never really used the stop signal. Health check. Okay, so the health check is interesting. I keep on trying to use it, and it's fine except for databases. I can never get it to really truly work properly with databases. And everybody that I talk to that also uses Docker professionally just has the same problem, where it's like the database starts up and then it like, oh, let me go back down again to like rerun all of our beginning scripts, and then it just tricks Docker into like, oh yeah, I'm totally fine. Oh, except it's not. Which is not great. So health check. So we can do, let's do our health check here. Interval 30 seconds, timeout 30 seconds. This is fine. Start period 5 seconds, retries 5 seconds, command. Okay, so what I never remember is, do you have any examples? Yeah, okay, so we just do a curl. This is essentially what we want to do. We're gonna use the shell version of command, curl to localhost health check. Otherwise, exit. Oops. Vim type code in not Vim. Okay, so we got the health check. So this, oh, specify the port. Oh yeah, that would probably be a good idea. Yeah, port 3000. Good call. That would be hilarious, because then it would be like, well, this doesn't work. Nothing works. Nothing works. It sucks. Okay, so this will check the, can I do this in multiple lines? I can with the backslash. So I want to do, okay. So when creating a container, we have the option of, what does the exit do exactly? Oh, this exit. So in a terminal, here we go. Okay, so here's a new terminal window. Let me open up a bash shell for this. If I just do exit like that, and then we check to see what the exit code was, we can do echo $? So the exit code by default is 0 whenever we just type exit. If we come back into here and we do exit and then any number, so I can do like 999. Now I can do the echo ? And we got 231. Is that the highest number that allows to go? I want to try this again. Exit 1. Yeah, okay. I can't go above 999 for the exit code. So here, if I do exit 1, basically any number that's not 0 is considered an error. So that means that whatever application you're running errored out. So if we're running Rust code and you use a panic to crash it, you can check the exit code and it's not 0, which means that it crashed, it panicked, there's some problem with it. So when we are in here exiting with 1, we're telling whatever the health check here is, this was a problem. We exited out, it's bad. It's not healthy. Whereas if this part succeeds and it doesn't get to here, it's going to be a 0 exit. Oh, there's a maximum to 255. I didn't realize that. Lunatic, hello. How are you doing today? Oh, your eyes didn't see the one. Okay. Got it. Okay, so good to go. We do that. Okay, so when creating a container, we have the option of having it check the health, do a health check. A health check is in this case, the health check will run the following command. 5 seconds after the container starts. Let's see, after 5, to give the container a chance to get going. Okay, so 5 seconds after the container starts, to give the container a chance to get going. Let's see, if the command fails, it will wait 30 seconds and try again up to 3 times. Okay. We can the health of the container can be viewed in the Docker PS output, which is nice. Instead of guessing how long it takes to get going, would it be better to listen for a signal indicating it's ready? Do we even have that as an option in Docker? I don't know if we do. Because like the problem is this is what we got for a signal. Now in Docker Compose, what we can do is we can say, don't run the next thing until the previous thing is healthy. So the idea is that we can say, okay, wait until your health check is passing. In the case of something like a database, although I have really bad luck getting that going, you could say, retry like 1,000 times, have like a really short duration for those, no waits, and just like wait until you hit it and then just go from there. And that would be as close to a signal based, but it's still going to be a wait for that thing to be done and then you mark as good to go. Shell, we're going to use bash, which is the basic shell. We're not going to install any other kind of shell in here, so we're fine. Here documents, is that new? I don't remember here documents. That's cool. I've never used them. And then examples. Okay, so we're good to go. Let's test it to see if it works. All right, so the way that we use a Docker file is we're gonna come into here. Let's open you up. Let's see. No, let's just do this in here. Okay, so we're inside of Express CRUD. Now if we do our Docker images, here's all the images that we have locally. I can now create my own image and have it on my own system. Now, if you remember, all of these images here that have a single name are official images from Docker Hub. But we're about to violate that only slightly. So I'm going to do Docker build -t for the name, the title, and we're going to call this Express CRUD. And then I give it the location of where the Docker file is, which we're in the same directory. So just dot. And then there we go. It's going to build this. This is a super fast build because it already has, it already had Node.js 20 here, all the layers for that. And I didn't really do anything special. And if you take a look at here, when we get the run ls, it, do I see the output of that? I feel like I used to see the output from the run command. I guess we don't anymore by default. But okay, it basically ran that inside while it's building, and it's just like run normal files or something else. Okay, so anyways, now we can run this. So I can do a Docker. Let's do images again, and here is our Express CRUD. Now it's just a single name and title. If I were to attempt to push this up to the Docker Hub, it would yell at me because I'm not an official repo. I'd have to title this with, oh, is it for tag? Okay, it's for tag. Never mind, not for title, tag. I would have to do Brooke Zerker / Express CRUD to namespace it, and then I can push it up. Right, and I can't specify a Docker file with the -f argument, but I usually just build it in the same directory that I'm at, and that's fine. But okay, so we run that. Now I can do a Docker run command with that. So we've already built everything else from this, right? So we know that we can just do a network Express CRUD network. And that adds in the Postgres database that we have access to. We can do our volume for pwd to /code because we said that we have a code mount there for us already. We don't need any of the environment variables. We do need the ports available to us. Now, okay, so we're gonna do ports. We'll do, we may already have 3,000 used, so let's do like 4,000 to 3,000 internally. And let's see, what else do I want? I think that might be it. Oh, wait, there's a health check thing. Isn't there? Maybe not, maybe there's not. Maybe we're fine. Oh, -d, I want -d. Daemon mode, and then Express CRUD is the image, and then I don't need to give it like a command to overwrite because I like the command that we already have in there. So we run this, it just runs, and then if we do a Docker yes, we can see our status, and notice now we have this health starting. And so if we run you again, it's waiting for the app to be up and running. If I try to run this, let's do a curl 4,000. Yeah, okay, all the tasks are running. So there we go. Now it's healthy. So you just have to wait a little bit of time for the health check. So I can actually see if it crashes for some reason and it gets taken down, this will become unhealthy for it. And that's it. That's all we have to do for it. And we have, it makes it so when we do our Docker run, things are a little bit easier and nicer. Okay, so let's see. Custom Docker image, or create your own custom Docker image. Create a custom Docker image with Docker file. My names are long. Okay, so all right, so we have how do I want to begin this? Okay, so we have our Docker. Okay, so maybe I do want we have our Docker containers up and running, and everything seems great. However, the Docker run command is a bit messy. It's unfortunately easy. It's unfortunately easy to mess up that command if you had Okay, so we can fix this by creating our own custom Docker image. All right. Oh, you know what? Let's just say And then I'll just remove the comments inside of here to make it a little bit smaller and easier to see. So I'm pretty much going to be saying the same thing anyways. And then the Docker file. We can reference that here. I don't want here documents. I want get rid of here anchor. We want that. Okay. Let's walk through each command in the Docker file and why we have them. Okay. From node 20. Okay, so this line is telling Docker to use another image as a base. We cannot create a Docker image from nothing. It has to start on top of something else. In this case, we want to use node, use the node use the node image from Docker Hub with the tag 20. Okay, so since this is hard coding, any developers on your team that pull down the project will also be using the same image when developing. Okay, next up, we have our run ls. You know what? Let's not use run. Let's run like let's do touch, like let's actually create a file and in there. So let's do touch slash call it like a hello world. Hello.world. Oh, I know what to do. I keep on pressing escape to try to go into Vim mode, but I don't have Vim key binding set up in VS Code. Now I know that I don't need to run the touch, but I want to show like the two commands and how they potentially could work with each other, and also that these are separate layers. All right, ads are going to start in around 5 minutes or so. To keep the pre-roll off, I will probably just work through the ad block though. So I'm just be filling this out, so hopefully it won't be anything special or fun that happens during that time. Okay, so the run command lets us run code when the image is being created. Okay, so we get that. What's next? Expose. What? No, that's not what I wanted. That. Okay, so expose is telling Docker that we'll be exposing to the host system. This is mostly to communicate with with other developers. Since we can expose a port using the -p option when creating a container, regardless. There's an option there's an option docker run -P, which will auto map host ports to the container ports using the okay, so we have that. That's expose. Environment variables. Please note that they are hard-coded into the Docker file and therefore will be pushed. Or wherever you store code. Okay, volume. Okay, so more of that. That's good. All right. Advertisements are done. That's good. Okay, so work directory. So this is the it's more of like the container. Actually, no, everything after this. So okay, so the default directory that everything after this will run in. Okay, so we go with that. I kind of like then moving health check up here. Okay, so anything with multiple lines, maybe. Oh, you know what? We should do that to these too. Okay, so that's the health check. Okay, so then we have worked our code, so we have that. And then finally, command. Let's see, we already have the reference. Okay, so Okay, so the dash T tags the image, with the name of our choice. Okay, let's do this again. There is a way. Okay, so I want to do Docker. Oh, we have containers using this, don't we? Well, no, I'll just do this graphically because it's easier. Okay, so yeah, so here's our Express CRUD image. I'm gonna go ahead. I just want to stop all of you, don't I? So remove all of you. Sure, remove all of you. These are fine. These are fine. You know what? Actually, having the Docker, the node 20 is fine and the Postgres is fine. So let's go ahead and pull those back again. Hey, do you use lighting too with your green screen, or doesn't matter? Yes, I do use lighting. I have two sort of like decent lights on the other side of my computers, pointing at me. Yeah, having like decent even light really helps the computer remove the color and like get rid of the green screen. All right, I think we just used Postgres like that. Whatever the latest was, I think we used. Okay, so we got you. Now we want to do a Docker. Make this big. We're gonna do a Docker build -t. We're gonna call this Express CRUD image. We can do latest tag for that. And then dot. So there we go. Okay, so then I should be able to do a Docker images, and now we can see the Express CRUD image with the tag latest. Yeah, so it's very rare to see. It's really hard to see anybody on Twitch these days who has a camera, like a face cam, who has really dark lighting. And that's because with like a green screen or something else like that, it doesn't really work very well. So if you don't have like great lighting for something, just don't use a green screen. Just like have a blank wall behind you or something else like that. It will probably look better than trying to, because it'll have more difficulty differentiating from our skin and our like clothes and the green screen, and you'll get like weird fragments and other things happening. Oh, fun. Okay, so we grab you, we do all this. This is great. Everything's fine. Okay, so we do our Docker build. It goes through and creates all these layers. And now we can see it in the images. Yeah, it can be tough, or you can just have the green screen behind you and just like show that can work too. I like it would be something to sort of play around with and test out, see how it works. Let's see, Docker. Oh, we don't want to use Docker run like this here. Because Docker and web development, yeah, we're not in the correct place. We want to do this over here. So Docker run, now that's, yeah, okay. So Docker run, Network Express, CRUD network. So we add the network in, we add our volume in, our port, we'll choose a different port, so 4000 to 3000. Express CRUD, yeah. So that's it. That should just work. Oh, except I named it different. What are you called? Your Express CRUD image. And then we can do a Docker. We can do our curl. Right. I took out the yeah. Okay, that's fun. I need to do a. Okay, so hold on. I need to cheat a little bit. Let's throw this in here. Oh wow, it's 5 o'clock already. I've been streaming a really long time. Okay. This is definitely my longest stream. It's 7.5 hours so far, but we got a ton of stuff done. It's good. All right, so we're gonna finish this up and then we'll probably end. If you have any questions about Docker right before we end, I'll be happy to answer them. All right, so let's see. I need to start up the Docker run our Postgres. Okay, so Postgres, we do that. Add you to the network, and then now can I do my curl? Yeah, so now is our curl. So we're gonna add you in. And then I also want to show a Docker PS, and we'll see that it is healthy. Also that we forgot to name it. I don't like Naughty Jennings as a name. We'll do, what's a Lightning Thunder? Something like that. That's better name. Okay, so we have you Express CRUD image. Okay, so up. All right. the run command is significantly simpler. And we can see, okay, so, and when we ran the ps command, and see that the health check is passing. Not all, we don't always need to create a Docker image, but the more customizations that we find that we are doing, the more, I guess, like, if we more and more many customizations or options when creating the container, we might want to simplify by creating an image. Okay, and I think that's it. I don't think I need to go. I'm not going to go over pushing this up to Docker Hub. I think that's out of scope, and I don't think that's really that hard to do. Okay, so Docker, we have a Docker file. All right, we did a lot today. We created our example Express app, and we got all of these articles written, which is great. Okay. Still to do, I want to run the container without root. So we want to set up a user inside the container, and then we'll use that user command so that we aren't. Oh, yeah. Okay. So never mind. That's where this comes in. That way we can just run the stuff in there as a not root user, which is better for security. And then we can automate all that stuff with Docker Compose, which will be one of those like, what? Why didn't we do this the entire time? This is going to be so easy. It's just one file and then bam, everything's done. Everything just works, which is awesome. I love it. But that'll have to be next time because it's late. I need to go grab dinner. So I'm going to go ahead and shut the stream down. I am, let's see. I'm going to be back here tomorrow at around 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time. We're going to play TIS 100. We've already started playing last week, and so we're going to continue on. It's a challenge. It's a challenge game where you program in assembly to play, and it's an Exactronics game. So if you're interested in that, stop by tomorrow, see how it is. I will definitely not be streaming as long tomorrow. I'll probably be ending earlier because my brain will eventually just shut down from trying to do assembly code. But we'll see how far we get. So let's see. With that being said, let's go ahead and raid. Let's see. Let's raid CM Griffin. CM Griffin is doing programming for Orderly, doing some web development type stuff. So let me set that up here. Raid Make sure I spelled it correctly. That looks right. All right, I won't be able to hang out with you because I need to go grab dinner, and I'm really hungry. So I will go ahead and do that. But I'll stop by and just say hi with you all. I hope that you all have a great rest of your night, day, morning, whatever it is for you, and I will see you next time. Bye.